There was a conversation recently, guys, that Lamar Jackson, obviously, we know what he means to the team, right? We know where he wants to go and what he's meant to, kind of the flipping the page in the organization's history in Baltimore, right? Like, it was the defenses that ran this town. It was the legends of Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, and whatnot. But how about this? Cam Newton was on a show and he was talking to someone from Baltimore. And Baltimore. And apparently there's a interesting debate between who has more influence, Lamar Jackson or Ray Lewis, in the city of Baltimore. So let's play that for you real quick.
Touchdown, Lamar!
Listen, I was having a conversation by a native of Baltimore. He was like, Lamar Jackson means more to the city than Ray Lewis.
And that's a bold statement.
Bold. Lamar Jackson is that guy. But damn, when you think about this, just shows your age. It's like, damn, over Ray?
Are you agreeing with it?
I have to. Motherfucking, there's not a more dynamic player in all of football than Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes, dynamic in his own right.
Correct.
A different dynamic, but electric. Virginia Tech, Michael Vick, electric. That shit, that's Lamar Jackson.
And he's becoming more vocal too. Like, he didn't speak on it, so people just had their own perception of him.
This is like the societal kind of crossroad. We're not used to seeing a position played to look, feel, act, stand on, culturally play like Lamar. They will want you to be on commercials. You can't name me a commercial that Lamar Jackson's on. You can't even probably name me an endorsement that Lamar Jackson has. Lamar Jackson is the epitome of keeping the main thing the main thing.
All right, so he's right about that, keeping the main thing the main thing. And no one's locked in, or as we coined it here, fired in, than Lamar Jackson here. But
Fired in.
The combination of fired up and locked in. But guys, it's when you hear it at first, you go, damn, whoa, Ray Lewis, you kidding me? Because Ray has won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
He was really
Super Bowl MVP.
Super Bowl MVP. And also, he has been, his legend of Baltimore is the largest for the Ravens organization. I'm not going to insult Johnny Unitas and everyone for the history here in the city of Baltimore, but for the Baltimore Ravens, the dance before the games, the impact on the defense, the speeches, the persona, and not that Lamar Jackson isn't that the persona, they lead differently, right? But Lamar Jackson is, like Cam Newton said, Zach, he's the most electrifying player in the sport. And honestly, since Vic, we hadn't seen anyone like him, but we might never see a guy like Lamar Jackson ever again.
Yeah, I mean, he hit the nail on the head. He is probably the most dynamic quarterback we've ever seen. It's truly electrifying. He's a different type of playmaker, and he's just special in his own way. But you got to get a Super Bowl before you can say he's means more to the city than Ray. And because Ray, you know, the Colts left, and then football came back, and within 4 years, boom, the Ravens were Super Bowl champions. And it really was that they brought it back. They brought football back to Baltimore. And Ray Lewis was that leader, and then he goes out and wins a championship on his way out. And so all of that taken into consideration right now, no, it's still Ray. I think Ray is still the peak of it all. Does Lamar Jackson have the opportunity in the next year or two? He wins a Super Bowl now. He goes out, keeps playing like this. Without a doubt, I think eventually Lamar ends up being the guy here and who you put number one. But right now, I will say the 2 Super Bowls that Ray has give him the edge.
I think there's something that Cam Newton said. He talked about, like, is this an age thing? I don't know who he was talking about. Like, as far as in today, I would say Lamar Jackson is more influential than like a Ray Lewis, because Ray's been out of the game for over a decade.
Yeah.
But overall, like, if you lived through, like, I was, I don't know, 10 or so when the Ravens came back to Baltimore. I was 14 when they won their first Super Bowl. So like, I just remember what it was like then, and it was bananas. And like you said, the squirrel dance, like, people still ask him to do that, and like it was just and Ryan's not going to want to hear this, but every time Cal Ripken walks around this area, people stop, right?
No.
And so, yes. And so I think it is, and you could just mute yourself, Ryan. I think it is very similar to and I think it will be very similar to a Brooks Robinson versus Cal Ripken type of thing. Like where like they're the same. Like they're just as influential. We care about them just as much and we look up to them just as much as athletes and what they did for the city as I don't think it's going to be one over the other.
And I think also it's two different types of things where Ray was like, he helped create the culture that Baltimore is today. He was, him and Jonathan Ogden come in as these 2 first-round picks, and they're the 2 Hall of Famers. And Ray Lewis was a huge part of just creating the culture that we still think of today when we think of the Ravens and how, they're defensive oriented. But then you have Lamar, who almost like brought this dynamic style. In fact, he did. He brought this dynamic and this offense to Baltimore where it's no longer like, where do you think about, with the Ravens, it was defense for the most part. But now it's Lamar, and it's, you think of the dynamic ability and all the big plays and the cool things that happen. So I get that maybe it's just like a generational thing where right now in the moment, we see what Lamar's doing for the Ravens. We see how impactful he is, not only on the field, but he's embraced the city. He's done great things in the community, both here, Louisville, Florida, and you kind of see that. But Ray has such a big legacy too, where you can put these guys side by side, and I think either one, regardless of if you're on the Ray side or the Lamar side, you can't deny the impacts they've had. That's just a little bit different, and obviously a little bit dated depending on if you watch Ray play or not.
Yeah, and you know what, Nick? Because I want to ask you this next question, and I see a couple people here, by the way. Thank you, Jason. You made the show, and Kevin is here too, by the way. He's there. He's sitting there. He's
what a legend.
He's comfortable.
Locked on.
I am. I'm sinking in this couch right now.
Raven,
too comfy.
Raven and Locked on Raven. And quickly, if you're new to the channel here, and Jason just wanted to bring that up, if you guys are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button for us. But whether it means more to the city of Baltimore or not, I mean, Nick, you can see what Lamar Jackson means to the Ravens. You're in the locker with them. You've seen him. You've seen the impact. You've seen the evolution of Lamar. I mean, I agree. It's going to take time. I think he's got to hopefully win this Sunday, go on and win a Super Bowl, right? But make no mistake, Lamar Jackson's impact is felt in so many different ways, and you can feel it inside the castle there in Baltimore.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think what Lamar is to our team is probably equivalent to what Ray was to the team back then. I think it's slightly recency bias just because Lamar is playing and Ray hasn't played in over a decade, like we said. For me, I think being in the organization, Ray Lewis set the standard for kind of what Kevin said, that he is the culture. Like, he brought that culture of smash mouth football, and we play defense, and this is what we do. And I think that's how it's always been. Then Lamar came in, and he was, like you said, he was a totally new player, brings in the offensive perspective. Like, he's our guy. He's explosive. He's our playmaker. We're going to use him to kind of the catalyst to get us going. I think this year we're seeing a perfect blend of that same defensive mentality with Lamar playing a full season, being healthy, being dynamic, being explosive, making plays like that. All that's coming together. And I think Lamar is the catalyst for it now. And he's helping propel us to potentially, we're playing the AFC Championship, potentially going to the Super Bowl. And I think Lamar is the best, obviously the best leader on our team, the best player on our team, the most valuable, impactful person on our team, on and off the field. And I think he's showing that this season.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up the fact of the offense and defense. And actually, this is the first year people are saying like this defense and Roquan Smith is embodying Ray Lewis. But this is that one of those hard-hitting, tough, ferocious defenses. That's what Baltimore used to be. And then now on top of it, now you have the most dynamic player in the NFL, and Lamar Jackson, who is running your offense. And that is a way different look than it was in 2019, right, Kevin?
And it's true. And this is such a bad example, but I'm going to use it anyway. And kind of to what Nick and I were saying about Lamar bringing offense. Let's look at fantasy football for a second. Such a weird kind of turn here. But who on the Ravens, offensively, were you just dying to get And if like who did you think of on offense when you thought of the Ravens? I mean, they had guys like Steve Smith Sr. and you can go back and back and back, but now with the Ravens and Lamar, he's brought in that offensive perspective, and he's been a guy that has improved every single season. He's embraced the community every single year, and he's done a great job. So I'm again, I don't think you can go wrong when you talk about Lamar versus Ray, but I do think it is generational. Where did you watch Lamar play or not? Did you watch Ray Lewis play or not? Either way, you might have a bias based off of, who you watched prior.
And I think there are Lamar Jackson fans first. And, when I say that, I'm talking about, I know Louisville fans love Lamar. So right now, all of Louisville, I see people all the time from Louisville that comment on Ravens stuff. And they're like, hey, I'm a Louisville fan, but, watch every Lamar Jackson game. So he has so many more fans than just in Baltimore. Like he is really starting to transcend into that level of, so many people look up to what he's doing, love what he's doing. And so it isn't really just, is he just a Baltimore guy? I think he gets up there with Ray Lewis eventually, but I think he's a guy who can, across the entire country, people really, and across the league, really start to look up to and love to watch play. And he's kind of transcended into a league-wide superstar in that aspect, rather than just, oh, he's Baltimore's guy.
Yeah, and I just wanted to bring this up because I had it up there for the longest time, and I apologize, Zach, it was underneath you. But I thought it was an interesting point. Ray was larger than life, brings the spotlight to Baltimore, which he did, and Ray felt like a folk tale, like a folk character. It's like this guy legends ago, or ages ago. The legend of Ray Lewis. Lamar Jackson, it just feels like Lamar's one of the guys. He is one of the inside of the communities, and I think that's something that is good to point out. So thank you for asking that, or it's not asking, for making that point. Regardless, both mean a ton to the city, right? Ray, the past and the present with it, but Lamar, the present and the future for hopefully what he can do this Sunday and moving forward.